to the Festival of Storytellers.
I can't tell you how excited I am to be on right now. It's been a couple of weeks of excitement, getting prepared, and I've done a lot of things in my life, but this has got to be close to the top.
Thank you, and Reader's Magnet, and thank you, John, for putting this forth and taking the chance on us authors in presenting this out to the world.
I've enjoyed this immensely, Joanne.
Ellie, so have I. Thank you for who you are, and thank you, Reader's Magnet. You all are beautiful, and you've worked so very hard, and we are blessed.
We are.
I thank everybody that's involved with this process, because we know writers need readers and writers need publishers. We thank Reader's Magnet and everybody that's involved. I love Reader's Magnet. They say, we share your stories with the world.
Hello and welcome, book lovers, readers, fairgoers, and viewers of all kind. My name is Luthia West. I am the author of Spirit Dancer, The Blade of Barisi. And I'm here to be your moderator for this hour, and I will be interviewing Wilma Forester. But first, I would like to thank Reader's Magnet and the Festival of Storytellers, their management and staff, and everyone who has made this festival possible and given us the opportunities so that we authors can be seen by our readers. Thank you very much. And I want all the readers and viewers to know that this is being broadcast on the Reader's Magnet Facebook page, the YouTube, Reader's Magnet YouTube channel, and please put your comments in the comments section below on these two formats. Or if you are right here at the Festival of Storytellers site on the main stage, there is a chat box. Please put your questions and your comments there, because we love to hear from you, and because Wilma would like to know what you would like to know so that she can tell you all about it. And before we begin here, I wanted to introduce Wilma Forester, who's author of The Adventures of Nagil of ancient Babylonia. And it says here, Wilma, you're going to get an A on the story you wrote in your high school English class, said my teacher. Wow, I didn't get many A's, so I was surprised and pleased. Maybe you will become a writer, she continues. I didn't think so. I was too much into riding and training my horse and chasing boys. Hi, Wilma. Please
Hi, Lucy.
tell us more about you.
Yeah.
We want to know this
Oh,
person who loves to ride and training horses and chasing boys, but knew how to write too.
Well, thank you so much, Lucy. Of course, I always want to talk about my book. I love reading my book again and again, but and I am an adventuresome person into horseback riding. So I could tell you I was born in L.A. in Bell, California. I was the
Mhm.
youngest of three children, and uh, it's kind of funny. My mother had a beautiful, handsome boy and a handsome daughter, and she didn't want a third one, so she went horseback riding, and I just ended up coming anyway and loving horses. So it's kind of funny. And we moved
Mhm.
up here to Chico in about 1940, and that's everything has changed so much, as you would know. LA is
Mhm.
so different now, but
Mhm.
I am basically more of an artist than I am an author, and I love to paint. But I have found I really enjoy writing also. But I like to illustrate my books. You can see one of my paintings back there, and
Mhm.
I I really do enjoy writing. And here's my book. I'll put it up where you can see
There
it.
we go.
Yeah,
There we are.
yeah. So
Mhm.
okay. So
Um, I want to back up just a little bit because, of course, you were born in LA, and of course, back then you said it was 1933. Well, there wasn't a whole lot of buildings, I mean, it was a city, but out around there was an awful lot of country. And you were all also talking about having no books at home to read.
that's true. Um, it's hard to imagine that, but I can tell you, my father, who was very adventuresome person, he bought a whole encyclopedia set of the Book of Knowledge, and that was the
Mhm.
only books we had. And here I was, a little under 7 years old, probably couldn't read, and I loved those books. I just went through them again and again. And when I see the wonderful things that are available to children today, I'm
Mhm.
very envious, because I would have just loved every one of those to have books like they have nowadays. It would have been wonderful.
Mhm. You also said in your bio, because I looked you up, that you had married young. You've got two sons and a daughter.
Yes, yes. And I was, before I was 20 years old, I had two boys, and that's pretty young. And
Mhm.
I had that. I got to say that was the happiest time of my life, having adventures with my two sons and taking them out. We went frogging, and oh, we just had so fun. And I have to say that that's probably one of the main reasons I wrote about a young boy, is because I feel like young boys are not really understood as the way they should be, and that they have feelings and emotions and tender, sensitive things, and they have problems too, and people don't realize that. And of course, I had a daughter later, and I love girls too. I'm not trying to push out the girls, but having those adventures with my young sons was just wonderful. And then I lost my older son. He was 9 years old, and he died in a
Mhm.
tragic accident. And my
Mhm.
heart just is very tender towards young boys. So that's why I
Mhm.
wrote this story. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes, I know. I noticed that you have a dedication that's actually in the back of the book of
I,
the adventures of Nagel and of ancient Babylonia.
uh-huh.
Yes. Also, Oh, what was I going to ask you? Just a second. Um, it was here. Um, yeah, you mentioned you were an artist.
Yeah, I
And
illustrated my books, and I like to do that. That's part of the fun for me is the illustrations on them, and that the adventures go from. I can show you. Here's one illustration. Let's see if I can.
mhm,
I got to put it this way that I put in the book, and I
yes,
might
the
mention
horse.
that I wrote a whole chapter on young people, horses. Girls love horses, and boys do
Mhm,
too. But I wrote a whole chapter on horses and how they think, and some very interesting facts about them. And I can say that I've really enjoyed that part of my life.
mhm.
I did a lot of riding, a lot of adventures on horses.
Okay.
Uh,
There is, though, another part of your life that's beginning, I'll call it. You want to tell us what event is coming up in your near future?
well, I'm just about to get married next Saturday. I hope to be married, and my future husband is sitting right over. He's hiding, and, and we're moving, and it's very confusing, but I'm very happy about it. So,
Wonderful.
right,
And then you're going to be Mrs. Roberts, right? Philip Roberts,
yes, I will
Mrs.
be.
Philip Roberts. Yes, okay, wonderful. So tell us, Wilma, how long have you been writing and how many books do you have published?
Well, I haven't been writing that long. I like I say, I've always been an artist, and I have all these feelings and emotions, and we all do. And when you write, you put yourself and your heart out there for the world to see, and I can't see what they're thinking, what they're doing, but they see me, and that's kind of
Mhm,
scary because it's almost like turning yourself inside out when you write your feelings and your emotions. And I can say my book is full of lots of witty sayings and stories because the Aesop fables that were in that book of knowledge, I loved every one of
mhm,
them. Like look before you leap, and he who hesitates is lost, and the grapes are sour if I can't reach them. And I'm sure a lot of people have never heard all those. And my book is full of that, as well as the inner emotions of this young boy who
mhm,
called himself nobody from nowhere in the beginning of the book, and he was just that. So
mhm.
he overcomes it, and in the end, um, I hope you get the feeling that you'd like to go on with him in more adventures because he overcomes a lot of
Mhm.
problems.
Yes. You have a couple of other books though, don't you?
Yes, I do. I have a fantasy book of a little harmony. The name of it is Harmony. It's a little flying critter, and it's in this special little mountain town, and it kind of unites the whole town, and it's a delightful little more of a children's story. And then I have The Adventures of Wild Willie, which is true, all true stories of my life, but I allow for a little exaggeration here and there, and I illustrate every one of those. And
Wonderful.
there's about a dozen stories of my life, and uh, and I've lived in a wonderful time in history. I've
Mhm.
enjoyed all of my adventures were really fun, most all of them.
Yeah. Of course, these two books are not published yet,
Not yet,
correct?
but
Yes.
Bruce Magnet will do that for me. I'm sure they're working on it. So
Wonderful.
yes, yes.
Okay. Looking forward to that, definitely. So tell me, let's getting back to the adventures of Nagel of ancient Babylonia. Who or what inspired you to write this book?
Well, I think I wanted to I wanted to include mystery and intrigue and my thoughts. Um, People in history were not backward. They were very extremely intelligent, and a lot of them didn't survive. Things were so hard, and you had to have skill and knowledge to make it back. That was the cradle of civilization back there, where Iraq is now. It was a beautiful land between the two rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, and it was kind of our beginning. And so I wanted to set it there, and I wanted to show you the feelings and the inner thoughts of this young man, and how he overcomes all the terrible obstacles in his life, and his feelings while he's doing it, and his achievements. And I think you would enjoy the book very much because of that angle.
Yes.
Of it.
Is Nagel's story written for a particular age group, children, young adults, or?
It's great for children, but it's also, I think anybody of any age, if you can read, you would enjoy it. And there's no there's excitement and adventure, but there's no horrible violence or anything, and so it's good for anybody to read it.
Yes. Oh, and how long did it take you to complete this?
Well, I started. My husband was working nights, and I had nothing to do, and I began to think back on my life and all the adventures I'd had, and the feelings I had, and I thought, well, why don't you write it down? And so it just kind of evolved gradually over a period of several months, and I would when you're writing a book like this, you feel like you're stepping in back into time, and it's all private, and you can say and do and make happen whatever you want, and it's really thrilling. I almost felt like I was going into that room and shutting the door, and I was in my own world when I wrote. That's the way I felt.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it very much.
Yeah. Well, yeah. My book, Spirit Dancer, that I was showing is fantasy, complete fantasy, and it's an epic fantasy. Epic meaning that it's in its own world. And I created not only the world and the characters in it, I even created a language that one of the characters speaks in there. And just that, like that feeling that you were talking about, you're just
Right.
in your own world. You're surrounded by this that you're writing about. It's
And I
wonderful.
might mention that there's there's animals, real wonderful stories about animals in there. He has a dog, he gets a horse, he has some terrific adventure, and he has so many friends, and they're all ages. There's a blind man, there's a wonderful woman, it's just full of characters and adventure, and all about horses. And he gets pushed into some situations that he never dreamed he would be in, and I think you would enjoy the book very much. I'm holding it right here.
Yeah. The character of Nagel. Now you were talking about life being hard back like in ancient Babylon. Well, in a lot of history, life was harder than it is for a lot of us now. We have different issues, different problems today.
Very different.
But you chose to have Nagel he was a slave, right? But he didn't
Right.
know in the beginning of the book. I read the book, I loved it. In the beginning of the book, he didn't seem to realize where he came from.
No, he didn't. He didn't know where he came from, what had happened to him, and if somebody asked him, "Who are you?" he would shyly say, "I'm nobody from nowhere," and of course that all changed. But it wasn't easy for him. It took courage for him to overcome a lot of the problems, but he did it. And, I could read you a little bit here. The needs and desires of the human spirit are much the same the world over, no matter what age you're born in. And the triumph of the human spirit is ageless. And if you could look back in time, I believe Nagel really was there. So
Mhm.
that's the way I felt about it. I felt like I was stepping into somebody else's life, and
Mhm.
it was really fun for me.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about his, like, you have him kind of living a double life, and I hope I'm not giving away any spoilers,
No, I
but
don't think so.
because I don't want to, like, give the whole story away, but he does something that enables him to be kind of like two different boys. The slave boy and a street boy or
Yes,
something.
he is. He's a homeless orphan living in a little hideout on the streets of Napur in the huge city, and then he has promised to serve this lord and master of this great estate, and he is allowed to go free the rest of the week. So he's part time. That's true. Yes, it makes it very interesting, and he has a blind friend that's an amazing man, and I tell about him, and he gets a dog, and in my book I even add music, and that sounds ridiculous, but I tell you what the music should be playing while you're reading this part.
Yes, I
It,
noticed it. It's kind of
yeah,
a little narrative going in under the
right.
story.
Yes. And I have a lot of sayings that I put in there that I think people would really enjoy. I've collected them over my years. For
Do you know?
instance, a beautiful lady is an accident of nature. A beautiful old lady is a work of art. So, he,
Oh, wonderful.
yeah, it's full of the cravings to be appreciated is one of the deepest principles of human nature. And
Mhm.
I bring that out a lot, that we all, even young children, have strong emotions and strong feelings. It doesn't take
Right.
years to develop that in our character. So
Mhm.
I try to show that.
Yeah. What had you how did you come to choose this particular title?
Well, I wanted it to be a not an up to date name, a current name. I wanted it to be have a little mystery to it, and I just kind of came up with it. And my grandson's name is Leighton, so it's almost Leighton backwards. So I just came up with the name. So
Mhm. Um, you were mentioned Nippur, and this is ancient Babylonia. Are the geographical names real places or real
oh,
historical
yes, they
places?
are. And I've said it in actually authentic history, and I've tried to make you see what he's wearing that's authentic, and the worship that they had, and the type of life that the people live. I have researched it, and
Mhm.
that to me is, I wanted him to really be there, to read
Mhm.
like he did live there. And of course, it took them so long to go from place to place. They didn't have the kind of transportation we had, and they relied on horses and camels, and they had
Mhm.
the ferry boats that went up and down the river. And if you went down, the Tigris River went really fast, so you could go down the river with your supplies, and then you came back up on the Euphrates. And those rivers are, and there's a lot
Wow.
of history in that. It's a wonderful, beautiful country. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, and you were, oh, here I come up with this another question. And when I think of a question in my head, I keep forgetting it because it isn't written down. It wasn't one of the questions that I had written down. It has to do with the I think it has to do with something with your process. But let me ask you if you have a particular message for the readers of your book.
Yeah, I think the craving to be appreciated and the fact, we meet people every day and we have loved ones, and we look at each other, but we don't really see each other. Even sometimes our communication is very faulty, and I've often thought that when I get to heaven, and I'm going to go there, uh, I'm going to ask God why He couldn't have made it so people understood each other better. And I've written a poem about it. I'd like to read it to you if you don't mind.
Certainly, that
If
would be
we have
great.
time, I say,
Mhm.
words not spoken. I speak, and your eyes light up with understanding. My voice makes an arrangements of notes. It becomes chattering sounds, and we both are seeped in perhaps 1,000 words every day. Still, you don't have a clue how I really feel. I can explain it all day, but you will never completely comprehend my inside thoughts. That is because I have so many beliefs and feelings that are so deep, yet still down within my heart. I am wholly satisfied because He, God, knows, and He understands everything, even before I think the words. So when I get to heaven, I'm going to ask Him why we couldn't understand each other a little more. And when I see people, sometimes I think we all have a story to tell. We all have a history. And sometimes we just get in too big of a hurry and we don't understand each other. And I think in my book, I really stress that part of reaching out to each other and
And
understanding each other.
understanding.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I remember what it was I was going to do. I was going to ask you what you might tell authors about doing research and the importance of doing research for a book.
Well, nowadays we have computers and they help us so much. We don't even have to go to the library, so we're kind of spoiled. But
Mhm.
I do think to me, it was really important to set it in actual history of the country and in the right setting. And I try to portray how they lived and how they felt. And only the strong survived. Today, we have a completely different way of life, and we flit about and we have our cell phones. And in those days, it took forever to walk from one town to the other or to learn something. And a lot of the children didn't really uh, get a good education and have
Mhm.
all the things that, well, it wasn't anything like we have today. And
Mhm.
yet, our civilization is built on, of course, our background, our culture. That's where we all came from. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yes. Well, I noticed when I was reading it that you have given us, the reader, a very realistic feeling for the area and the um, the heat and the sand of it all, let's
Right.
say,
Yeah.
and
Uh,
that and and you have or have not been in that area of
no, I
the
haven't, but I would love
right.
to. Yes, I would love to. And
Hmm.
yes, the horses were everything and everywhere, and they were beautiful horses. They said there were the king said there were more horses than there was straw. So, you know,
Maybe that's what happened. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they don't have as many horses now. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely would need that. So when you're writing or doing artwork, even let's tell us a little bit about your artwork too. Do you have a special time or day or place where you like to write or where you like to do your artwork?
Yes, I do. I have a little back room in my home, and I can go in there and shut the door. And I think the house would burn down, and I wouldn't quit painting. Once I get into it, I just get into it. And I love, there's one of my paintings back there. And then uh, if I move over this way, you can see my horse painting. And
Mm-hmm.
that was one of
Yeah.
my own horses that I rode and loved.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Beautiful job.
yeah. Well,
Beautiful.
thank you. I love painting. I usually have
Yeah.
paint on me. I get it
Okay,
all.
so do you use what medium do you use?
I use oils and acrylic and pastel. That horse is
Mhm.
pastel, and this other
Mhm.
painting is oils. And
Oils. Mhm.
you know, I enjoy all three of them. And the trouble with oils is they're stinky and they smell bad, and then acrylic dries too fast. So sometimes I put them all together, and that works too. Yeah.
Hmm. Oh,
Uh,
that's interesting. I've never tried to mix my medias, literally mixed.
yeah.
Usually, when you say mixed media, it means that on the canvas you've used this and you've also used that. But that is definitely mixed media when you put them all
Right. It
together and
is,
put them on there.
yes.
Hmm. So, so how often do you write then?
Well, I haven't. I say I haven't written in a while, but I do. I write poems, and I'm working on the other two books, and I'm trying to uh, get the poetry and the feelings of it out there. And I
Mhm.
enjoy. I never thought of myself as an author. But even in high school, I did some writing, and I was surprised when the teacher said, "You have talent there." You know, I thought, well, not me, couldn't be me, but yeah, it's just part of me. So I enjoy that very much. Um,
Yeah, wonderful. Also, I was thinking about, with your medium of oils and pastels and that. Can you tell us about the process for getting those into the book? How do you get them scanned, or what do you do to get them in
well,
the?
a lot of what I did in this book was sketches, and then
Mhm,
I would color them. They weren't really large oil paintings, but some of it is. And then
mhm,
I would take pictures of it, get it in my computer, and shape it all up. You know, you can even get in there and paint on your things and enhance them.
mhm,
And then, of course, I just sent it all to Reader's Magnet, and they would size it up and put it in there. And
mhm.
it wasn't that. It was fun for me. It was just fun to do that. So
So, yeah, so tell us a little bit more about Reader's Magnet. Did they help you with the publishing of Nagel, The Adventures of Nagel and of Ancient Babylonia?
oh yes, they did. Of course, we worked back and forth, and uh, they would help me plan it out and so forth. And actually, they did the cover. I didn't do the cover, and but I did all the other illustrations, and I
Mhm,
appreciate their help. So we went back and forth a lot, and it's a little stressful sometimes trying to communicate with each other. But we did good. We
yeah.
did very good.
How long have you and Reader's Magnet been working together?
Oh goodness, for I'd say over 5 years now. So
Ah,
yeah,
so you're a real Reader's
it's been a while
magnet.
since I started this,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
I hope to get the others out there, and
yeah.
I'm hoping
And
to
so
fulfill
when was Nagel actually published? What
it
was it?
was published about 5 years ago, the first time, and then they're redoing it a little bit now. They're making it a little smaller and changing the price, and I like that better. I felt like it's going to be easier for people to purchase and cheaper. And I
Mhm,
have a website out now, and it will be available, and it'll be in Barnes and Noble. And so I'm very
mhm,
happy to. I, it's not a matter of being an author. It's a matter of getting your feelings out there and communicating with people and having somebody enjoy what you do and
mhm,
have them understand what you do. And that's really why I would say that's why I do it. I think that's why people do artwork too. They want to say something. They want to leave something behind and say something. So that's
mhm.
what I've tried to do. Um,
I totally understand that. I'm an artist as well. I'm also a performer, but the artwork and the writings, like you say, they stay. They're there,
Right.
and they're you have the ability to share with countless numbers of other people, especially in a book, because they can read it and they can share it with others
Right.
and talk about it, and other people will pick it up and read it, um, and the story goes out, and anything that any whether it's the feelings or lessons learned or anything that is within that story can come alive in their lives as well. And so yeah, authors need readers.
Yes.
That's who we
Well,
write for.
well, my book has a little bit of a surprise ending. And I think when you finish and put it down, it'll give you a real good feeling about
Yes.
people and about life. And you'll wish you could go with him for some more adventures. And maybe someday I'll do that. So,
That might be good. Is there anything that you would be willing to tell us about your other books without giving away any,
oh,
spoilers?
yes. Well, yes, they're true life. The Adventures of Wild Willie. They called me Willie, and I had a brother and sister, and we came to Chico when it was just being developed. We were the only house on the gravel road, at the end of the gravel road on Cactus Avenue, and we had some adventures. There's one story that I just love called Goosey Gander. I won't give it away, but it's an amazing story, and we we were right there in by Bidwell Park, and we could go up in the canyon there and up and have wonderful adventures. And we had dogs and horses and a cow, and we just had a real good life. Like
Yeah,
few kids will enjoy today.
uh,
Yes,
wasn't there a bit more wildlife around at that time?
yes, there was. Out where we were, there was big fields, and when it rained, there was big ponds, and the geese and the ducks would fly in, and you had to be kind of careful up there. There were mountain lions up there and so forth too, but we didn't have any problem. And
Mhm.
my brother had a BB gun, and he kept it on 20 pumps. So
Kept it on 20 pumps. Okay.
we had it ready.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah,
I'm going to take a little break right here and talk to our listeners and viewers and let them know again, if you go to Reader's Magnet Facebook page, we are there, as well as other videos that have been streamed there. You can see Reader's Magnet has quite a number of authors there speaking. Also, we are broadcasting over YouTube, the Reader's Magnet channel on YouTube. Please enter your comments in the comment section and your questions there, and our management and staff will um, will get your questions and bring them to us so that we can answer them for you. Also, here on the stage at the Festival of the Stories stage on the Festival of Stories site, in the private chat, put your comments there and your questions there so that we can address those as well and get those answers to you. We appreciate your viewing and thank you for being here. And please hang in there with us as we continue.
thank you.
Yes. Okay, so also since you've been with Reader's Magnet for quite some time, um, can you tell us a little bit about their other services? You mentioned that they made the cover for your book, and you said something about helping you with organization
Oh, they
of your.
did. Yes,
Oh,
they did. They had a lot of good ideas, and uh, they were very helpful in making the cover. And they would get back to me from time to time and make suggestions, and I would edit the book as we went. And so they worked together with me. Yes, it was very nice. Yes.
So they have final editors, and they help also with, well, this is part of marketing, this right here, being able to talk to viewers and
Right.
book lovers who come in. So yeah, and this is where they have helped us and helped me too with some marketing. As a matter of fact, I didn't even realize that I had such fans until the last Festival of Storytellers, and it was really,
That's
it was a
wonderful.
wonderful experience.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm so
Yes, really.
glad to be part of it. I'm very happy to have this interview. So,
Yeah. What else do you like to do besides your painting and artwork when you're not writing?
well, goodness, I'm so into my church. I sing in the choir, and I have a lot of friends up in Forest Ranch, and sometimes we get together and take rides up the beautiful Deer Creek Scenic Highway, Highway 32, and Mount Lassen is up there, and we take pictures. Oh, and of course, I always want to paint the pictures, and I do. And then we have a group of art friends that get together, and we set up our paintings and critique each other, and we get hard on each other. It is fun. We tear. There isn't a painting in the world that I can't find a problem with, so I can tear them down. So,
Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know if you were aware of this, but I do. Well, I do some Chinese brush painting, and so
oh,
I've had several in the past. I've had several different masters who have come to our brush dance group to show us or make demonstrations and stuff for us and teach us some of the techniques in that. So what I learned from them was that when their paintings got to seem too perfect, they would deliberately put some kind of
oh
mistake
yeah.
in for it
You
to
don't want
feel
it too perfect. No, no.
right, to be human and natural and
Yeah. It's all a matter of values of the light and the
Mhm,
dark and the contrast.
mhm. Whoops.
And
That,
if you have a that makes it for an interesting painting.
mhm,
But then there's all kinds of art. My goodness, there's a world full of different kinds of art, and
mhm,
everybody has their own favorites. So I like the old traditional scenic. I often tell stories in my paintings too. I like to say something.
mhm,
Like I had a cowboy who's lost the horseshoe and he's off. He's got the horse's foot up. He's out by the mountains and on and there's
mhm,
the guy coming down the snowy mountain on his horses. I love doing I love doing that because that's where I'd like to be on a
mhm,
horse in the wilderness, and so that's what I
mhm.
enjoy painting. You know.
Yeah. Do you have other favorite artists that you
Oh,
like to
goodness,
emulate?
gosh. I would say John Singer Sargent. Oh, I love his work. And then I had a dear friend that was a teacher, that Les Hawks, and oh, he did beautiful work. And goodness, there's a world full of art out there, and I love going to galleries, visiting good galleries. I might mention I have paintings in the Mount Shasta Art Gallery,
Mm,
and they've only been up there a couple of months, and I'm real thrilled to have them up there. Art. There's not that many places for art nowadays. It's
mhm,
it's like the videos and the cell phones and all that is the big thing. The electronic things and the movies. So we have to keep fighting to get the art back out there. That's what I like.
mhm, mhm. Well, I'm going to have to ask you the same thing about authors. Who's inspired you? What authors do you like?
Well, I have to think about that. I think probably Mark Twain and his wonderful stories, and I love The Shepherd of the Hills. That was a wonderful book. I still like to read that. I can't even think who wrote it, though. I bet. Did you ever read that story? The
Oh,
Shepherd. Oh, wonderful! It was
no.
set back in Missouri and the beautiful mountains. And
Mhm.
I really I don't think I love books and I love reading them, but I don't think I have a real favorite author that
Mhm.
well. Yeah. So
Mhm. Have you read Natalie Babbitt?
no, no, I haven't.
Tuck Everlasting, The Eyes of the Amaryllis, Goody Hall, was it? Anyway, she wrote quite a number of things, and Tuck Everlasting, of course, Tuck Everlasting has been made into a movie twice. There was a remake in 2000. Anyway, it's a young people's book, sort of a what they call middle grade, like for 8 to 12-year-olds, something like in that age range.
Really? Uh-huh.
But the interesting thing about Tuck Everlasting, and I mention it because it's like my all time favorite, my absolute all time favorite, because it is the only she is the only person I know who wrote a book the first time, like rough draft, first writing, who not only published it as the way that it was written without, I mean, not that she didn't. I actually wrote her a letter at one time, and she told me all about this. That it was the only book that she's ever written, and then it didn't need any editing, and it didn't need any rewriting.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And that was to me amazing. And I've heard several people say, "Oh, well, I want to write it and write it right the first time." Well, when I have heard that, I get their book and I read it and I say, "No, it needed an editor." But
Yeah.
this one did not.
Is that
Uh,
right?
Even her setting adds to the life of the story, and it was like a hot summer, really hot summer August, like when everything is still and when the weather breaks, that the climax of the story is part of that and
Yeah.
everything. So
Yeah.
it all works together, and it's a nice little book. Yeah, I would call it a novelette because it's written for the younger age that it is. A very easy read, but it's a fantastic read. Tuck
Hmm.
Everlasting, yeah, by Natalie Babbitt.
Yeah.
Now, I may not be
Uh,
uh,
yeah.
I don't think that she was, ever one of the Reader's Magnet people because that was written so long ago, and there weren't computers when this one was first printed. But yeah, writing has.
Actually, I have to tell you, I had very few books when I was young, and
Mhm.
that's Jack London. I think maybe was my
Oh
favorite,
yes.
and then there was the story of Smokey by Will
Mhm.
James, and he illustrated it, and that impressed me a lot. That was wonderful.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It would. So are these like that particular author or the other authors the ones inspiring you to do your illustrations, or you just did the illustrations because you could see the
well, to me, I couldn't help but do the illustrations. I felt that it just had to have that, because that's probably the way I am. That
Mhm,
I think I'm more of an artist than I am an author. But I do enjoy putting it all together. It's wonderful to
mhm.
do that.
I totally agree with you. I do. I have been known that I have done NaNoWriMo. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's called National Novel Writing Month, and that's abbreviated as NaNoWriMo. And it's all from the Office of Letters and Light in the San Francisco area. They are,
Mm.
and every November, challenge goes out online, and writers from all over the world try to do 50,000 words in 1 month in 30 days.
Oh,
That's the challenge, and of course it can be ugly writing. It's okay. You think rough draft, you don't think a nice
oh,
polished finished product,
uh,
and I've done that and successfully done it several years. I started in 2006, and and I found that the novels that I began there became not this particular novel that I have here, Spirit Dancer, but other novels that I have kind of in the works. Most of them, many of them started with that NaNoWriMo rough draft, ugly writing type
Right.
of thing,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, lots of times when I'm writing, I think, well, you can't do this. You can't put that all in beautiful words. But I found if you just get a notepad and put down your thoughts, just a rough thoughts, then you arrange them and put them all together and flesh it out, and you can do it. And I would say
Exactly.
if anybody wants to write and you think you can't do it, just put down some thoughts, some rough
Hmm.
thoughts, and then flesh it out and put it together, and you'll be amazed what
Yes.
might come.
But
Yeah.
also, because I'm an artist too, and you're an artist, well, I think that anybody who can even draw a stick figure can help themselves. If they're an author, can help themselves out by doing some drawing while they're writing. Uh, even if it's stick figures to draw out some kind of action or something that they're thinking of, just to stimulate their imagination to do that. And
Oh, a
and when
lot of
we,
people would disagree with you on that. That
oh
you would
yeah.
scare them. They would think if they had to draw anything, they're not going to
Yeah.
do it.
Oh,
You know.
no, not gonna do it. Yeah, that's true, but, and I think too that, some of the we used to be able to get together. I mean, I know that, with the COVID, lockdowns and that we
Yeah.
people can't get together so much, but we used to get together in writing groups called write-ins, and the people, the other authors would just as often see me drawing as
Oh,
writing while
well,
everybody was
yeah, because
writing,
that's natural to
you know.
you. Yeah.
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 But I try to encourage them to just, if they have an idea they're trying to work out, draw some stick figures doing that, and then
Yeah.
think of what
Yeah.
they would do, and then the idea will, you certainly don't have to put it in your book. You could just,
Yeah.
just to stir your imagination. So, uh, but that's also what I do. I stir my imagination with drawing the characters or drawing some scene, and sometimes, yes, sometimes stick figures, but rarely, because I usually get the art in there. The artist jumps in and writes the book, or vice versa. But the
Yeah.
characters. Now, let me ask you this about Nagel. Did he ever like sort of pick up with the story and take off to show you what he's going to say or do?
No, he didn't jump in. I did everything else but that. But um, he had just so many friends and characters and adventures,
Mhm.
and then I think he had a tender heart and was a loving person, and it all
Mhm.
came out in the end. But he got very discouraged and depressed at one time, but
Mhm.
he got over it. He had a friend help him, and he got over it, got back on track, and that's.
Mhm.
I think my book is very encouraging to young children. Nowadays they say they have ADHD and all that, and they do. And I'm sure that children of all ages, have had problems, but they didn't have a name for it then.
Mhm.
They didn't know what to do with them, why they were like that. So,
Yes. Well, in having read the book, I myself believe that it is a good book that children will love, like if they are in that.
renter rights. Oh my goodness, excuse me.
Yeah, so that they have uh, a really good read. Fairgoer 2257 says must be a great read, Wilma. I personally think so, Fairgoer. I'm like raising the flag that it
Well,
it is
thank
a
you.
good read. Um, it's a little unusual because you do that narrative. The author enters and says, "Put this music here," or
Yes,
this note there, and
yes,
it's kind of a different things, but it does not really, for me anyway, it does not really stop the story.
right,
You
yeah.
you still want to go on and continue reading. At first, it was like, wait a minute, what? But I was like, Oh, okay. So the narrator comes in every once in a while and says,
Right.
think of this. Go. In other words, put this mood in, put that mood in, and stuff. So it's a rather unique uh, tool that is not generally used, but it's I think was great. Change.
Well, I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to be myself, and
Right.
so yeah, that's
Yeah.
so I'm a little different, and that's okay. I like things that are a little different, so I stuck my neck out and said a few things there. So it says here, if this was a movie, the music would be a slow drum roll alternating with suspenseful violin melody. So
Mhm.
half the truth is a great lie, and who can bear it? So uh, it's full of witty sayings, and
Mhm.
he falls in love, and it has a little romance, and he gets in a lot of danger, and his dog helps him out, and I think you'll enjoy reading it if you do read it. And,
Um, really, if any of you fairgoers are listening out there and you have children that are, if they're avid readers at 7 or 8 years old, but if they're, 9, 10, 11, ages like that, all in there, that
they
this
would
is a
enjoy
great
it.
book.
Yeah.
The romance in it it's a very sweet, innocent thing, uh, and it's a good read. It really is.
Mhm.
Thank you for your comment, Fairgoer. Um, Wilma, I want to ask if there is anybody that you would like to thank.
Well, I think my sister and my brother and all the adventures we've had in our life, and of course I want to thank them for putting up with me. They sometimes I was kind of excitable, and I remember them saying, "Oh, Willie, shut up." So lots of times I just was the adventuresome person and would talk them into doing things, and sometimes we got in trouble. And I would say my father was a wonderful person. He was a good father, and he took his kids on camping and fishing and out into the woods. And we went upon Mount Whitney down there in LA and took us to the snow. And I think there's a lot of people in my life that
Mhm.
influenced me. We all have that, and I think we are influenced very much by our parents and brothers and sisters, and it comes out in our life. And when you write a book, it really comes out. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
An- Fairgoer 834 says ancient Babylonia must have been a very interesting place to be in. Why choose this for the setting?
Well, because um, we are in such a different culture now, and I just loved the history of that country and of the way they lived. They didn't have electricity. When they made something, it was handmade and beautiful, and just the culture, and
Mhm.
also the fact that uh, a lot of people didn't survive. Only the tough, the ones that were ready to get going, that had a little gumption, that survived those days. And
Mhm.
like nowadays, we kind of have it easy. So I wanted to have it, and then they had horses. What else? What else did you need? You had lots of beautiful horses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really.
yeah,
Yeah. Thank you, Fairgoer 2257 says, I'm definitely going to let my girls read this. Thank you. You won't be sorry. You really
yeah.
won't.
Yes, thank you. And of course, I'd love feedback. And I think if you check my website, there'll be a spot where you can give me feedback on the
Why
book.
don't you tell us your website address now?
Well, it would be Wilma Forester at readersmagnet.com, and
Mhm.
I think that would get you in. And
Yes.
so,
Yes. So that's Wilma Forester, just like it's here on our
right,
screen.
uh-huh,
Wilma Forester at readersmagnet.com.
Right. Try that.
And where can we get a hold of your book?
Well, it's going to be in Barnes and Noble, and of course you can get on Amazon. And we're going to get the price down a little bit. It was a little expensive when they first put it out, and their Reader's Magnet is working with me on that to get the price down a little bit so that I think anybody can afford it.
And
it
it's
will be
available in ebook and
Amazon, ebook,
okay,
and of course Reader's Magnet.
paperback,
Yeah,
and
paperback book.
okay, yeah,
Uh,
okay, and we're just down here at the bottom of the hour now, and ready to close. Thank you, Wilma Forester. Thank you, viewers, for being here. We authors need our readers. We can't become true authors without the readers
we
that
want to
that
reach.
love our stories. And thank
Thank
you,
you.
Readers Magnet. Thank you, the Festival of Storytellers, for this opportunity, and we appreciate it all.
All right. I've
And,
enjoyed
right.
visiting with you, and I hope that people will enjoy my book.
Yes.
It'd be
Thank you,
great.
Wilma, for being here. It was great
Thank you
talking
very
to you. I
much.
really loved it.
Okay. Bye bye.
I think.